Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Whiskey Geeks. My name is Tim.
And I am Alex, and we are two brothers on a quest to bring you the perfect pairing of whiskey and comics. Tim, this is going to be a fun show.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Hey, we are in the midst of saying peace out 2021 and hello 2022. So we thought we would join everyone else on WhiskeyTube and Podcast Land and rank some whiskeys and give you what our favorites were, because why not, right?
Yeah, it's been a fun year of tasting some different things, and yeah,
Really
we thought,
has.
sure, people want to know what we think about this too. So
Of
let's
course.
rank some stuff that we've tried and see
Yeah.
what our list look like.
Absolutely. And we don't know what each other put on our lists. And that's what I'm
Nope.
most excited for, is we kept this blind to each other. So
Yes.
I'm interested to find out if we are the same on anything.
Well, it does help that a lot of what we've both had this year, we
Has been
drank
together.
together.
Yeah.
So, there's the range of things that either of us tried that the other hasn't is
Yeah,
pretty small.
that's very true.
So,
That's very true. Our tastes are a little bit different, though, so that
Little,
will come
yeah.
into play. Now, we do obviously a bit of housekeeping. We broke this down to some categories, which we'll get into. So we are doing our favorite whiskey from the Americas.
Yep.
We are doing our favorite international whiskey.
Yep.
And then we are doing our favorite Scotch whiskey.
Yeah.
So 3 categories. We're going to name some honorable mentions as well. And then at the end, we're going to have a fun little bonus category, which we can kind of explain as to how we decided where we would keep this. Like, what are the criteria that we gave ourselves, Alex? Why don't you tell
Yeah.
the people what criteria did we give ourselves to keep this in?
Yeah. So the way that we weight things, and if you've listened to us before, we definitely talk about this, is availability, price, bang for buck. I mean, obviously the flavor is what wins out, right? If something is
Yeah.
just amazing, you can always talk yourself into spending an extra $20 or $30 if something's really, really good. So that's obviously the backbone of what we're doing. However, we also recognize everyone's, tastes are different. Everyone enjoys, slightly different things. So, even anything that we talk about, that we rank, I mean, again, this is coming from our perspective and our flavor profiles that we really enjoy. So I assume that there will be a couple flavor profiles that are going to do really well on both of our lists.
Probably.
But we didn't want to get into, like, when we're talking about the best America's whiskey, I'm sure there's some Pappy Van Winkle release that was absolutely incredible if you could ever get your hands on a bottle and you had thousands of dollars.
Yeah. We also have been very fortunate this past calendar year to try some fairly ridiculous, expensive, not easy to come by things, and we didn't really feel that it was fair to have those win. So
Right.
we do have a bonus category at the end, which we are calling the best thing I tasted this year.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to throw some pretty hilarious, crazy stuff at you folks. And it's partially us wanting to flex to each other. But also we just needed a place to put,
Things
this
that were
isn't
40
gonna
years
win.
old.
Exactly. Things that I spent $2,500 to buy for a club tasting, which
Right.
I don't think I'll ever do that again. But that's not going to win the whiskey of the year, but we wanted a place to mention some of the crazy stuff that we were able to try. So let's just get right into it. We're already a couple minutes in. So let's start with the Americas, shall we? So do you want to do honorable mentions? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Well, I've got one that is an honorable mention that I'm pretty sure is going to be on your honorable mentions too.
Ooh.
And that is the Boulder Spirits Sherried Bourbon, which is an absolutely fantastic bourbon.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I think either of us had tried a bourbon that had actually been aged in a sherry cask, because normally they don't do that. So us being both fans of sherry bomb whiskeys, this was really, really good. So that's my first honorable mention for the Americas. It's something you can get. It's something that will not break the bank. Like, it's $80. It's fantastic. For those watching on the YouTube, it's this beautiful thing right here with this orange label right behind me.
You also just got a nice photo of it flashed on the screen.
Even better than the blurry image over my shoulder.
Yeah, there you go. That one, it did. I didn't make my honorable mention because I have something else from Boulder that I put on my honorable mentions, which is also just a bit of. I wanted to put Boulder on there. I'm also going to put a caveat in here of I did not drink a lot of bourbon this year. I drank a lot of Scotch whiskey, and I drank more Canadian than American this year.
Yes.
So again, please don't come at us in the comments saying you're garbage. What about all this great bourbon? I just didn't really drink a lot of bourbon this year. So I put the Boulder cask strength peated on the honorable mention, which happens to be a specific bottle that our whiskey club did. We were able to buy half of a cask. The Yeg Whiskey Nights folks out in Alberta, they also did the same release. We just got our bottles in. What a fantastic whiskey that is. Boulder, you do good work. So look at that. Boulder hits both of our honorable mentions. I will go next for an honorable mention, and I'm going to hit one from Canada. I picked this bottle up relatively inexpensively, and it is the Lowen McKinnon Bordeaux finished peated single malt from out in BC. I think it's Abbotsford. Surrey, right. My bad. Surrey, BC. So Lowen McKinnon, this was great. I got this on a deep discount at the LCBO for like $40 or something hilarious like that. And I just bought it on a lark of like, a Canadian Bordeaux finished peated single malt for $40. I'll give that a shot. It's fantastic.
Especially at that price.
But a fantastic whiskey. Great job, Lowen McKinnon.
Yeah.
But let's get into the winners.
Yeah.
Shall we? I'll go first. I'll go for the winner. So the winner for me, for America's for Whiskey of the Year, if you listened to our podcast, you heard us rant about them last week. Macaloni's Caledonian, and look at the damage I've already done to this bottle.
Look at that.
So this is the single. Okay, so this is the single cask release. I'm kind of giving the Whiskey of the Year to Macaloni's Caledonian. If you want one that's really fantastic, that is accessible, just go get their peated Mac de Brèche. It's unreal.
It is.
For Whiskey of the Year for me, Macaloni's Caledonian, their Invermally, the cask strength, which was finished in red wine, recharred red wine barriques, comes in at a fantastic 57.9%. You just recently got to try this because I included this in our 12 Days of Christmas virtual thing that we were doing. You get a lot of star anise on this. The red wine brings a really nice flavor to it. There's almost a licorice flavor that comes in on this as well. A phenomenal whiskey from a great distillery doing fantastic things.
Yeah. And you're right. Like I just tried this one last week and it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. For me, what I'm drinking is actually that bottle of the Boulder that you just pointed out, our club bottle, because I'm wanting to get into it a little bit more. It was also it was like my honorable mention, like 1 point or like 1B, but again, it's because you can't get it.
Right.
I'm going to follow up what one for me, and I don't think this will be a surprise to you. I'm going a little bit further north than what you did, up to the Yukon for this beautiful bottle of Two Brewers.
Yeah.
Now this is from the Edmonton Scotch Travis's Whiskey Club out there. And this is the peated PX cask strength from barrel 204, coming in at 58%. And this is just a phenomenal bottle. I cracked this one at the mouth of the caves up at our family cottage. We do have a neck pour session video review of me doing this one. And yeah, I really, I love everything that Two Brewers is doing. Each release is unique, but when you can get something down into like the single cask, like I was saying, Travis's club out there in Edmonton, like this was their club bottle. There were a few extras kicking around that I was able to get my hands on. I shared a dram down with you. So you've had the privilege of getting to have one of these, and yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
So that's my winner for the Americas.
There we go. So we both kind of cheated our own rules already.
A little bit.
All I'll say is, like, Anything from Two Brewers is fantastic. Anything from Macaloni's Caledonia is fantastic. Just go buy anything from them, and it's great. All right, let's move on. World whiskeys. So
yes,
non-Americas, non-Scotch.
yes.
I will rip through my honorable mentions, and then we can just get, and then you can give your honorable mentions. So, again, I didn't have a whole lot of whiskey that would fit this category, but I did get to try a few, and they were fantastic. So my two honorable mentions were the Amrut Fusion, which is from India, a nice peated malt from India. That Amrut, it's readily available, at least in Ontario. We did it in a club tasting, and it was all over London. So it's pretty readily available. And then also this phenomenal bottle of Cavalan Concertmaster Sherry finish that we picked up from, I can't remember if it was Craft Cellars or if it was Whiskey Drop.
I think it was Whiskey Drop.
Yeah, but it's out in Alberta, so a little bit harder to find this one particular, but Cavalan from Taiwan.
Yeah.
A phenomenal sherry whiskey. I think it's like 40%.
It's
40%. It's an everyday drinker. Like I'm surprised I still have some left, but it's one of my wife's favorites. So I try and drink other stuff and
have a little bit coming on. Can I jump in? That's also that's my runner up, is that one, as the Cavalan. Yeah. Which leads me to believe that we have the same Japanese winner.
We might have this. It might be the same distillery. I bet we've got two different bottles though.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. We're going to see. Okay. Do you have any other runners up for international?
No, I just went with the one. Like same with you. I haven't tried. I didn't have a whole lot, so I went with the Cavalan as the runner up, and I went with the Kaio Mizunara as my. Oh yeah, that one.
Look at that. So the
my
Kaio.
favorite.
I want the cask strength Mizunara oak.
Yeah.
53%. This bottle is amazing. It's cedarwood and oak and vanilla, and like Mizunara casks were a big revelation discovery for me this year.
Yeah.
I just discovered stuff finished in Mizunara oak, and then I went on a hunt of like, what the hell? Because I think we tried, it was like a Chivas blend.
Yeah, it's the Chivas. Finished. Yeah.
But it's only Mizunara.
Yeah, and it's a short finish, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you were able to find that bottle of, like, it's 100% aged in Mizunara.
Yeah.
And it is fantastic.
Phenomenal whiskey. Again, just really, it's just cedarwood, like cedarwood, sandalwood, vanilla, nothing great, like 53%, drinks really, really smooth, fantastic whiskey. And they age it on a boat. How cool is that?
That's one of the other things I love.
Yeah. Kaio's a cool little distillery out of Japan. So great job, Kaio. You win the Whiskey Geeks
way to go
award for
keep doing awesome stuff.
All right, let's get into the main event, Scotch.
Yeah.
The main thing that we drink a lot of it. So you've got a number of runners up in different categories.
Yes.
I'm going to have a sip of this Kaio because I poured some.
Yeah. So what I wanted to do is I sort of did a core range versus like special release, because I feel like if you're going with something and you want to say this is the whiskey of the year, it's easy to fall into, oh, I'm going to pick this really rare thing that was a special 2021 release, and you can't get it anymore unless you hit the secondary market and, pay hammer fees and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's, I sort of broke it up that way. So for my core range, I have two that I feel are tied, that I'm going with, that like they're so close for me. So I'm going to give one the edge. So the runner up for me is the Aaron Sherry Bodega, which I mean, if you've been listening to us this year, I know we've mentioned this several times.
There's an Ekpor session video about it.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I've got. I've got a little bit of that in this one, and it's really, really nice. And in fact, you talk about it for a second, because I want to have a sip of it since I poured it.
I mean, spoiler alert, you're going to hear me talk about it in a bit.
Okay.
So we'll skip that
Yeah.
for now.
Okay. All right. So for my special release, runner up, I put the Lafroig Carchus PX cask.
Oh, the brand new one.
Yes, the brand new one.
Oh,
it's so good.
It's so good.
And when I announce what my winner is, you'll understand why that wasn't the winner. But so those are my two runner like honorable mentions for like core range versus special release.
Got it.
All right. What about you?
Okay. For me, I did the same thing. I put two runners up in each category and then just picked an overall winner. So the two runner up for core range for me are the Lechik 10-year-old.
Nice.
This is right here. Phenomenal peated whiskey out of the Isle of Malt. This actually was Ralphie's whiskey of the year.
That's right.
That's fantastic. So fantastic. The other one, I went a little bit fancy. You can see it above my shoulder here. Whoop. Glen Scotia 18-year-old. Little bit more pricey, obviously, being an 18-year-old, right? 220, 250. I love everything that comes out of Glen Scotia. That was a little bit of a treat for myself, and damn, is it a really nice bottle. For the kind of special edition ones, I have a feeling I know where you're going, so I'll name one of them first. The Balvenie Week of Peat for this year was fantastic. On peated non-Isla whiskeys, obviously the Lechik as well. Peated non-Isla whiskeys, some of them do really, really great work. So that Balvenie Week of Peat is fantastic. The other one that I put in my runner-up category would be the Lafroig Carchus Port and Wine cask that I've got right there. Phenomenal whiskey. I'll go first for whiskey of the year because it's already come up. For me, the whiskey of the year, surprising probably no one, is the Aaron Sherry Bodega. This thing, look at the color on this thing, folks. If you're just listening, you are missing out because
look how red it is.
It's ridiculous. So, natural cask strength, 55.8%. It's finished, or it's aged in sherry hogsheads, which are 250 liters. Natural. This is like the natural color of it as well,
which is
coming
wild.
Out. Aaron's been doing great stuff. I had tried a few Aarons and then really gotten into sherry whiskeys at the start of the year, and especially like anything really strong cask strength. It'll come up a little bit about some other things, but like was in part of some tastings, some virtual tastings over the course of the pandemic where I was able to try some cask strength sherry finished whiskeys, and I was just like, this is incredible. And then I was just scrolling through casks or craft cellars and saw that Aaron, and I was like, you know what, Aaron, they put good stuff. They have a cask strength sherry whiskey. I'm just going to buy it on a lark. I think it was like $100 to get it shipped to my door. And it immediately jumped up to me. I was like, this is phenomenal. And you know what? I bought the Kaio at the same time. Those were both things I was just like, I can buy these on a lark. And what a delivery that ended up being. So congratulations, Aaron. You win for me. Whiskey of the year, the Aaron Bodega Sherry Cask. I am not worthy. I'm on my third bottle this year.
Which is incredible.
I've been giving a lot of it away.
Sure. Oh, yeah. And because it was so good, we did it for our most recent club tasting. We got our cast strength night, and this was featured. So what won for me is I went and I fudged the rules a little, not really a little bit. This is a core expression now. They're up to 11, and I went with the Octomore. And specifically, I went with the Octomore 11.3. And it is just everything I love about peated whiskey.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
It's smooth. The color, it's so light and golden. So the difference between the like 11.1, which you normally find, and then the 11.3, which is like slightly special release, but since you can still get it in stores and not just at the distillery, it counts, right? The barley they use for this is actually grown on the Octomore farm. So this is grown like on the distillery. It's their experiment in terroir, which is normally a wine thing, but it's, bleeding over into the whiskey world. And anyways, yeah, that's what I went with. It's, again, kind of like your Glen Scotia. It's a bit more expensive. You're up into the $250 range when it first comes out. But for me, this is just everything that I love. The first time I had a Octomore, I mean, I've gone on and on about this. I fell in love, and every expression I've had of it is something a little bit different. So this one comes in at 194 ppm. Ooh. And is just amazing.
Yeah, I believe Octomore is worth every penny. Mm-hmm. It's getting, the 12s just came out and they're 250-ish. I think they creeped them up a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit like, I don't know, but
yeah,
up to now, worth every penny.
Yeah,
it almost made my list.
Yeah.
It was, to be honest, the 11.3 was in my honorable mentions of the best thing I tasted this year.
Yeah. Well, I had it there originally, and then I went, you know what? I think I can get this. I think this counts.
100% that counts. So, all right, folks. Well, that's our whiskeys of the year. Aaron Bodega, Octomore 11.3. Let's move on to the fun category.
Yes.
Let's talk crazy stuff that we got to try.
Best things we put in our mouth 2021. Yikes. That's how I wanted that to come out. So,
yikes.
We've been lucky this year. We've been part of some pretty amazing tastings. We've got some pretty incredible friends and contacts in the whiskey world that have shared with us. We've got a dad who is a bit crazy and has a wonderful collection, but the best part is he loves sharing it. So we've had access to some good things. So we each have 5. Yes.
I've got 5 runner up and then my winner.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that.
Cool. I'll go first with my number 5 runner up is a bottle that I own. It is this SMWS, the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. It's specifically the Apocalypse Cow. It is a Glen Scotia. It's 60%. It crushes. They're really hard to find. Thank you to Travis for securing that for me. He just sent me a message and was like, "You like Glen Scotia? Do you want this?" Found it. I was like, a 60% Glen Scotia? Yes, please.
Yes.
It's incredible. But that does not get tasted often.
Very often. Yeah.
And will not for a while. That's lock it away for a while. So that's my number 5.
Nice. For me, I went with a non-age statement as my number 5 runner-up, and it's the Dalmore King Alexander III.
Oh, yeah.
So don't have a bottle of this, but ponied up the money to get at Deacon Brody's up here in Ottawa. Great whiskey bar in town for anyone who's local and listening. Go down and support them. But got a sample from them. It's a 6 cask age. Rad. So they do wine, port. I wrote it down, so I want to make sure I get this right. So wine, port, Madeira sherry, Marsala, and bourbon. Mm-hmm. And so there are 6 different casks that they use, and the symphony of flavor is simply splendid.
Oh, wow. That was very well done.
Anyways, so that's my number 5.
Cool. Number 4 on the runner up for me was a wonderful bottle that we were able to try from our father. And for me, it is the Mortlach 20-year-old Cowie's Blue Seal.
Ooh, that was really good.
Yeah. A 20-year-old Mortlach is amazing. Just a phenomenal dram. Mortlach is a distillery that is very sneaky, and I think it flies under a lot of people's radars. You don't see it very often.
No.
Every Mortlach I have tried has been really heckin' good.
Yeah.
And a 20-year-old Mortlach is fantastic.
Yeah. Nice. All right. For me, I went with the Highland Park 30-year-old that we were able to have for, like you said earlier, about the awesome club tasting that we were able to do. And I am a huge fan of Highland Park, and being able to, one, secure a bottle of that. Thanks, Mitch, for winning that lottery. But then passing it along to us, it was fantastic. You once you get into the 30-year-old stuff, you're really starting to taste some exquisite depth of flavor. So it was really special to be able to do that.
That is number 3 on my list.
Oh, well, there we go.
Is the Highland Park 30. So ditto. Phenomenal. Like, it's everything that anyone who likes Highland Park, it's everything you like about that. You get that like that Orkney peat style, like the smokiness under there, but being that 30 years old, you start to get the like old tobacco, old leather, warehousey type, flavors and notes that start coming in with those old whiskeys.
Yeah.
And like the pair together is fantastic. So phenomenal whiskey. So that's my number 3.
Nice. So number 3 for me was the Black Art 8.1 from Brew-Eclotic, which, thank you, was I turned old and 40 this year, and that was the birthday bottle that you and our dad gave me. Yeah. And it's a 26-year-old. They don't tell you what the casks are that are used. This is a non-peated. It is sweet. There's like the dark berries. There's a syrupy quality to it. I haven't had very much of it just because I know like I'm not going to be getting another bottle of this anytime soon. Yeah. And every time we've tried it, it's an experience. So, and it's fun trying to figure out what's going on in there. So that's number 3 for me.
Number 2 for me is Black Art. If you want to watch the two of us just lose our minds drinking this,
yes,
you can go and watch our video where we paired this with a phenomenal comic book called Death Vigil. But we went into this and we did the full tasting. You can watch us drink it. You can watch me I pretty much lose my mind at the end about how, like the whole time, but how good this whiskey is. Yeah. Everything you said, phenomenal.
Yep.
So that's my number 2.
Cool. Number 2 for me is a Ben Nevis 1962 40-year-old, which got tossed over to me by our good friend Mike Brisebois, the whiskey explorer himself. So just an awesome dude. If you don't follow him, go follow him. But
and join his Whiskey Explorer Society.
Yeah, go sign up. So that's So he shared a dram of that with me, and it was incredible.
I bet.
Just incredible. You're getting those old leather, some like tobacco-y notes, and it was great.
Nice. This is so weird. I mean, it's a different Ben Nevis, but my number 1 runner-up is it's what you've got in your glass, the Rogers Ben Nevis.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
What a cool bottle. You can probably tell more about it because you've got the bottle there. But it just tastes like bacon. It's the craziest whiskey I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So this was limited to 328 bottles. It came in at 58.4% ABV, which is, there were, 60 bottles of this came to Canada. Mm-hmm. We got our hands on 4. So I mean, that's the royal we, as in us and our dad and his friend Rad. But then also several members of our whiskey club also ended up with a bottle of this, and everyone who has tried it absolutely loves it. And oddly enough, that's the best thing I had this year. This wins for me.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. So my number 1 runner-up was a Bunnahabhain 1968 38-year-old.
Oh,
which we bottle killed. Well, that was actually the retirement gift that you and I gave our dad.
Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't put that on my list.
You forgot about that?
This was so good.
Yeah. So, and this was a bottle kill that we did this year. So this has lasted since.
This SMWS falls off that list, and that comes in at number 1 runner-up.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man, I forgot about
anyways, that. So it was a Duncan Taylor special bottling release that we gave him in 2000 and when did he retire? 6? 2006,
something
like that. 2007. So he's had it this long, and we only ever drank it when the three of us were together, and the world being COVID what it is, you've heard us talk about these Friday night tastings that like the four of us will jump on and do. He surprised us all by mailing us all the final drams from this bottle, and we got to share it together. So
yeah.
So that's my number one runner up, and I actually gave this Rogers Ben Nevis as the best win. The win for me.
Wow.
And I'll explain myself a little bit, because after you've heard what I just put on that list, it's kind of crazy that a 6-year-old whiskey. But for me, what did it, what I love about this whiskey is it's complex, it's different, it's difficult. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's difficult to approach. It's not an easy sipper. There's so many layers to it, and the flavors are just, it's crazy. Like you said, it's bacon. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But so
it's so good. So I gave this Rogers whiskey my best thing that I tried this year.
That's fantastic. Good for you, and good for you.
Way to go, Roger.
So for me, the best thing I got to taste this year was back in February. A few of you watching and listening will probably be able to attest that you were on this, but it was a virtual tasting hosted by none other than Mike Brisebois himself. It was an all Deanston tasting, which included the Virgin Oak 12-year-old, 15-year-old organic, 16-year-old organic Oloroso, which is an incredible whiskey.
Yeah.
The Deanston 18, the 2004 PX finish, a 20-year-old completely finished in Oloroso, but the pièce de résistance was a Deanston 40-year-old. And that Deanston 40 was something special.
Yeah.
The year previous, I was in another tasting with Mike that he hosted where we had a 42-year-old Buna, I believe, or 46. 46-year-old Buna, which to this day remains the best whiskey I've ever tried. This Deanston 40 comes real close.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. I wish I had more. I will say that.
Not just a bottle you have kicking around?
No. But it was incredible. Yeah. So yeah, thanks Mike for hosting that. And thank you, Tim of the past, for getting into that tasting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, that's going to be it for us, folks, on our Whiskey of the Year wrap up. Hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you're following us on social media at the Whiskey Geeks. Whiskey has an E in it because we are all inclusive. As you saw, we drink and try whiskeys from everywhere. If you're watching this as well and you want to see another list of year-end favorites, go check out our favorite comic books of the year, because that's
just popped somewhere
or is coming at the end of this video. I still don't understand YouTube, but you will be able to find it on our channel. So we're doing our top 5 comics of the year as well, and we'll be back with more pairings and more reviews. We are going to do a review together of that Lafroig Carchus PX cask that we just got, because woo, is it a good one? Boy. There's also going to be a full review coming of this Macaloni as well. So lots of stuff to keep coming back for, folks. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe and like button, because that helps us out a lot.
That'd be great.
Right? It would be really great. Yeah. Cool. This was fun. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, I guess. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Let's have 2022 be the exact same as 2020 and 2021, I guess, right? Is that what the direction things are going in? No, it's going to be a lot better.
No, it's going to be a lot better. And make sure that you're sharing your whiskey with your friends and family as long as they're of age.
Yeah. And they can get in your house, because everyone's...
There you go.
Yeah. That's all right. Thanks so much for our friend Call and Response for the use of his song, There's Something About Your Love. Go and check him out on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever it is that you listen to music. He is an amazing guy, and this song is great, and it is a constant on our at-home playlist here for us. So thank you so much. Tim,
hey,
2021. See you later.
See you later, folks. Have a good one.